Hey, what's going on, drivers? Just wanted to come here today and talk a little shop with you guys about some of the things that are going on in the industry and things that are happening in the trucking industry that a lot of you guys are asleep at the wheel at and don't know what's going on. Let's jump right into it. Do you know that most carriers are under a program called Carrier 411? Carrier 411 is just the basic snapshot of your operation, you as a carrier, where you being stopped by DOT, being put out of service, logbook violations, tires, flats, anything that's negative that can go against you. It's being put on this Carrier 411, which every broker throughout the United States get to look at that has the website where they can do a snapshot or let's say you're hooked up with a CH Robinson or TQL or JB Hunt or whoever, and they're subscribed to this particular website. Well, whenever you get stopped and it's put into the federal data system, they get an alert to their brokerage company saying that trucking company ABC was stopped in Maryland today and he was put out of service because of inoperable brakes, no logbook, yada, 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 whatever it might be. So after a certain amount of violations, these brokerage companies stop dealing with you. How many of you guys have called into a brokerage company and say, hey, listen, I see you got a load, such and such, such and such, such and such. And then they be like, give me your DOT number. You give them the DOT number. They be like, oh, yeah, that load is gone. The load isn't gone. They just can't give you the load because they don't want to take the liability risk of you going out here having an accident, especially when you got a high safe stat score, especially when you got numerous violations of being put out of service and things of that nature. So then you get the more craftier brokers who say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you this load, but I'm not going to give you at market value. Say market value is $2 or $3 a mile. Now we're just going to give it to you for $1 a mile. What are you going to say if you're not making any money and you're not able to pay your bills? You're going to be desperate and you're going to do exactly what they want to do, even though they know you're qualified to haul that load. And I tell you guys that these brokers have gotten into so many different things on how they can scam you out of not making your fair profits, your fair amount of money for doing work that you get out here and you bust your ass to do. How many times have a broker called you and said, give me your DOT number, and they're scanning the computer. The computer is working so fast as you're giving them your DOT number. The computer works it out and says, okay, well, he did this load over here for X amount of dollars. Then he did this one. Then he did that one. How many times have you heard a broker say to you, well, last time you did this load for A, B, and C. Why you want so much now? Last time you did it for that. Listen, that was last time. Okay, maybe I gave you a freaking discount. There's no discount today. This is what I need to move the load. That's because they're keeping records on you. They're keeping records of how much you charge and how much you're willing to bend. And, we're not going to pay more than that because truck driver knucklehead over here, he took it for less than that. And that's where we want to stay. They're keeping records on each and every one of you drivers. And they're telling you that it's the market, and the market dictates this. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I was listening to a gentleman by the name of Rick Santiago on the webpage earlier today, and he was saying that the DAT board does like a rate comparison of what freight should be paying going to different areas. And they're asking that anybody that's on the DAT board cancel your subscription to them. Because if you think that you can tell somebody what the market industry or the market rate should be to go from point A to point B, you're no longer just a load board. You're trying to regulate what we make. You're trying to regulate freight being cheap. And If you do some scratching under the surface, I guarantee you it has a lot to do with shippers. It has a lot to do with brokers that are out here to daggone scam and get as much money possible out of truck drivers. You daggone truck drivers got to be a lot more smarter. You got to start waking up, and you got to start learning to, again, get yourself and a conglomeratory or a group where you and a certain amount of guys can get together and y'all can formulate a plan. Again, I'm still working on my plan because I've been talking to a few guys, and as time goes on, and I'm thinking these guys are solid, and then you start scratching more and more under the surface, and then you find out these guys aren't as solid as you think they are. And it makes no sense to me trying to do something with somebody that I know it's not going to work out with. So in the overall scheme of things, everybody's not going to be on board with everything that goes down. And if I can bend on certain things, you being part of a group should be able to bend also. It's got to be a give and take. It can't be, it's either my way or the highway. And that's pretty much the way it's been with these brokers, and these brokers turning around and giving us their ass to kiss and telling us either you take it or you don't. Listen, I'll never understand this. And I don't know who's advising these brokers to do the things that they do and keep these freight rates as low as they are. But you know what? There are going to be people around that's going to be able to weather the storm, that's going to be able to keep their authority, that's going to still have their trucks and their trailers out here ready to roll once everything is over. Now, for the people that couldn't make it and had to get out of business because of the sorry ass rates, that's fine, because you want to know what? There's going to be somebody out there like me who's battle tested, who has everything in order, and I'm just waiting for all of this to be over. And then when it comes time where you done ran everybody out of business, because I know there's brokers on these web pages that watch everything that truck drivers do, and then they pretend like they're truck drivers. You're going to be the one that's going to need that truck, and you're going to call me. And guess what? My price is going to be 5 times the amount that it should have been, because I'm going to do the same thing to you that you're doing to us right now. And you could call it price gouging. I remember a few years ago, guys couldn't find trucks, and then you had brokers crying, saying all drivers are price gouging us, and they're not being fair. Are you serious, man? Are you absolutely serious that you would get up here and you would go to the news and say that a truck driver is price gouging a broker because you couldn't find a truck? No. It's the bottom line is you guys are doing this to drivers, and you're running them out of business, causing heartache, causing guys to lose equipment, causing guys to lose homes, cars, and not being able to pay for their kids' college tuitions and everything like that. What goes around always comes around. And when it comes around, you're not going to like it, because without truck drivers, you have no job. You won't be able to book no loads. You won't be able to do anything. You won't be able to promise anybody a truck unless you pay out the ass, just like you making drivers pay out the ass right now. Now, I'm not for too much of driver strikes, or not so much a strike, but a peaceful rally. Mr. Santiago is setting up a peaceful rally up in Washington, D.C. I'm not too sure if it's supposed to be Monday, the 27th of this month, or if it's the 27th of next month. That's something that I want each and every one of you drivers to look up. His name is Rick Santiago. That's R-I-C-K, Rick, S-A-N-T-I-A-G-O. And him and a few other guys are setting up a rally, one in Chicago and one in Washington, D.C. And I think it's going to be on Monday the 27th, but I'm not sure if it's this month or next month. But whatever day it is, if there's drivers that's available, that's willing to bobtail down to DC and Find out exactly what it is that Rick is planning on doing. And if it sounds like something that you're interested in doing, it's not going to hurt you to bobtail down there. You're not doing anything anyway because none of these brokers want to pay anything for you to do anything. And if you can work for free, you could bobtail down there and you could be part of something that may change in the trucking industry and make people open their books to the things that they're doing to truck drivers during this pandemic and the money that they're receiving from the federal government that's supposed to be dispersed out to drivers. Again, drivers, I need each and every one of y'all to protect your CSA scores. Your CSA scores is going to protect your insurance. It's going to protect you as a owner operator and a person that's going to be in business and that's going to be profitable. Because once your CSA scores and your SafeStat scores start to drop, then you're not considered to be a prime carrier that can haul freight and demand prime rates. So I need each and every one of you guys to make sure that your equipment is in A1 shape and that you're doing everything that you need to do so that you don't get in any kind of trouble or anything like that. Again, Rick is asking that all you drivers who are subscribing to the DAT board cancel your subscription to the DAT board, being that the DAT board is basically telling brokers what the rate should be going from point A to point B. Because if the DAT board feels as though they're the be all to the be all, then maybe we should stop fattening their pockets so that they could tell us what we should be paid for doing their loads. So again, we're asking that, you guys cancel your subscriptions to the DAT board. Besides, there's no loads up there worth a damn anyway. If you got loads up there that's paying $1 a mile, then what's the purpose of you pulling a load for $1 a mile? Your operational costs are more than that. If fuel is at $3 a gallon, why are you pulling a load that costs $1? I mean, that's paying $1 a mile. It makes absolutely no sense. I wrote down a few things. I'm just kind of like reading over them as I'm talking. Again, you guys have to be the ones to decide on what you're going to do, because if you keep running your equipment up and down the road and you're barely making any money to survive, you might as well stay home. You might as well keep your truck parked. You might as well not even get out here and attempt to do runs, because God forbid your truck break down. What are you going to do with no help and no money to survive? Or no money to get your truck fixed? Because again, these mechanics and people like that, they're going to want all their money. They're not going to want just a little bit of money to get something fixed. So we're going to try to help you out. No, we want everything there is to get your truck up and running again. So I need each and one of you guys to be weary of that. For you guys that are posting your trucks on these DAT boards, stop posting your trucks on these DAT boards and all these other web pages, so that these brokers could sit down and come up with their little analyzations of what this should pay from point A to point B, and the market rate says that, oh, from this area to this area, because there's so many trucks running in that area, that it should only pay this, and this. Stop posting your trucks on the load boards so that they can try to come up with some BS analyzation of what something should pay. Again, man, I could talk about so many different things till I'm blue in the face, but until you guys start putting in the work, till you guys start coming up with plans to make money, to go through some of the bills that you've delivered to customers, and you see customers that there might be a possibility that you could get in there with a group of guys, then there's nothing I could tell you. There's nothing nobody else can tell you. Only thing you could do is kind of like whine about everything that's going on and poor me, poor me. But you as an individual, you as a person, as a group, as a block, have to get together and make that fist, man, so that you can start knocking some of these brokers out the box, because some of these brokerage companies are outrageous with what they're doing. And it makes absolutely no sense to me that you would do or try to do the things that you're doing when you have no equipment and you don't have no insurance to cover the things that need to be covered when it comes to hauling freight. So it is what it is. So to me, I think that we're in a battle, we're in a war, and it's time for us to start fighting like we're in a war. So again, man, I'm gonna get off right here because I got a couple of things I want to get down, and I'm trying to write down. And like I said, I just happened to run up on Mr. Santiago's post, and I thought it was really good. I saw where he did the online thing where he did a live calling TQL asking about a load, and I think the load had about 100 stops on it from Miami back up to Jersey somewhere, and they wanted to pay like $1,200, which was absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, these are the type of things that these brokers are trying to do and probably are doing from some of these lower crappy carriers that are out here running these loads for nothing. Again, man, I'm gonna holler at you guys down the road. I'm up here, I'm writing out a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm trying to get things together. And when I do finally get everything together, I'm gonna pass it on. Now, let me say this to you. Everyone in the struggle is not gonna be able to be brought along. I'm gonna say that again. Everyone that's struggling right now, trying to get the money that we deserve, are not going to be able to be brought along, because a lot of you guys are not going to want to do the things that need to be done in order to make things right for the rest of us and the people that are going to do right in the trucking industry. You're always going to have people that's going to complain. You're always going to have people that's going to go against the grain. That's why I never do a live, because I know I'll have 100 different guys saying 100 different things, and you can never get through it without reading some kind of negative comment, or some guy saying, well, why don't we this and why don't we that? So I just kind of like make a video, I post them to all the truckers web pages, and I go from there. Now, if I get some positive feedback, I get some positive feedback. If I get negative feedback, a lot of times I just try to ignore it and just move the hell on, because it doesn't make any sense to me wasting my time with negative energy. But again, we're here to try to get these freight rates up. We're here to try to make a change for what needs to be changed when it comes to trucking. All right, guys, I'm gonna holler at you guys later. This is Truckers Life. This is what I love to do. I'm gonna holler at you guys down the road. Be safe. Woo woo. Truckers Life.